Here we go, just wearing a regular tee. Untucked, you see it moves around. When you move around your arms, torso, lean to one side, it pops up. And the further you lean, the more it pulls up. And it's just physics at play in your shirt. The fibers are just strong enough that they're counteracting gravity and they're just going up. It's nerdy basic physics. And if you take the clothes off and then you look at the body, note the headband up top. And then these other points on the arm and the Apple Watch, as well as on the other side over here. These are anchor points that are going to be in the system you'll see, and just watching as they move around, you'll see that they're just different distances away from, say, the hip specifically. So all the little areas that you see, there are specific distances that are all changing with relation to where the hip is. And that's all you're really looking for here is you see the spine is curving and all these little anchor points on your body are just changing distance away from how far away they are from your hip. And the same thing with when you turn to the side, especially when you look at the back and think about all these things, the surface area of your back and the distance from all these little points, especially where that the knot is, the distance from there to the hip. It's all important and it's all changing. And without a shirt, there's nothing to resist your movement. So this model shirtless dude is able to move completely freely, and you just see how sort of diverse the human body can be in its movements and its interactions with cute little animals. And at all times during all of these videos, you'll notice that the hip is just the critical point, and everything is just really kind of changing distance from the hip, and that's really it. Even when you're doing this stuff, your legs and your arms, everything is just kind of centered around your hip and what's going on in your hips. It's just energy. It's flowing through your body, and the energy's making your arms move and your body wiggle. And so, if you kind of dance or just flow with the energy, you'll see that it, if you contain it right, it just sort of flows through you, but it goes through these anchor points. And what we don't realize is when you wear clothing, and we'll start seeing videos with clothes on in just a second, it changes. The clothes are around you, but depending on what you do with them, this movement can be restricted. And as you lean forward, you see how the arms and shoulders all kind of function as one unit and sort of rotate together. It's all physics. It's the physiology of the skeleton. And if you play golf, the way that you move in your hip rotation, your hip turn, and your shoulder, and the straightening of that arm and the torsion in your torso, and the way that you're able to balance yourself, it's all centered really around your hip and your spine, and how all these anchor points are functioning as a physical system. And as you have more and more torque, boom, that's when you can pop a ball real far. It's all about the muscle control in there. You can kind of see the abs in there, but those are muscles that you use to crank it. And it all really comes down to the earth and your feet being in contact with the earth, and the energy going up into your hip and your hip turn, and your hip powers everything. So now we get some clothes back on, and we're untucked. But now what happens when we tuck a shirt in? And this is the basic principles of a tuck buddy. The whole tuck buddy system is, once you tuck your shirt in, you see that you see all the lines in there. You kind of see how the fabric in there, the thousands of little fibers, become this tensile system, and it's physics at work. And what tuck buddy is it's a definition of these systems, and it's a purposeful use of them. And as you see this person moving around, you see how it kind of tugs on one side, and in other places it might become loose and it might become tight, and it's all just because of the movement of the body and the distances that are all changing with relation to the hip and the forces that are tugging on it. And with this setup, you see how the shorts are just popping up. And that's all because there's not enough friction underneath of everything to keep the shorts down, and there is enough strength in the shirt that it pulls everything up. So now we put on some pants, and now we've got it tucked into some pants. So there's a little bit of a different friction going on here, but the same shirt, same person, and you still see that there's some tension here. So what's going to happen with these pants are a little bit more anchored down than those gym shorts were. And so now it's a little bit more restricted, and it's kind of annoying, to be honest. It's like, well, if you don't want this to be restrictive, it's annoying because, you tuck in your shirt hard enough, you can do it today, you'll see, like, the tension in the back of it, and the motion is just restricted. And if that's not your intention, then it's annoying. But if you can control it, as you'll see, it has some really good impact. And so as you can see, just the tension in the fibers of the shirt are just tugging and resisting the motion here. And it doesn't matter how your body moves, it's just your hips can move, your upper body can move. There's energy in that shirt system. And depending on how you bend forward, and depending on what type of posture you have, whether you're hunched, where you hinge really hard at hips, or we're hinging a lot here, and we're hunching a lot here, and twisting, and you can see that the material in the shirt, even around the armpit, is just really stretched to its maximum here. And because it's an Under Armour shirt with this wonderful material for athletes, you've got the less tension in the front, and then you're able to still move around with this. But if you change the materials, as we're going to see later, your motion and your ability to do this, Under Armour is made to do this stuff, and that's why I have every single Under Armour shirt under the sun, because you can do this in it. But you see it starts coming untucked. Even though it's Under Armour, the physics just isn't there, and with enough movement, it's going to come untucked even from pants. And so unlike the shorts, where the shorts got jacked up, the pants stayed down and the shirt came untucked. And now we're changing up some materials. Now we're not in Under Armour. Now we're how we want to look in public. And maybe like in office settings, maybe we want to have a nice tucked in shirt. Really important. So we start moving around throughout the day though. If we move around a little bit, our shirt stays tucked in. But we start seeing people, maybe we start waving at them or whatever, shaking hands and stuff. It starts to just gradually come untucked. And the tighter your belt is right now, or the tighter the pants are, the less it becomes untucked. But you can see already it's not looking so hot. And the more that we move around, the material in the shirt is less stretchy than the Under Armour shirt, so it just starts poofing out. And we're going to retuck it back in here. And we're going to kind of give just a kind of an honest move around, wiggle around, and see what happens with the shirt. How quickly does this move? With a real strong hip hinge and a straight back, you can see it doesn't really come as untucked as it might. It's still pretty tucked in there, but if you let your back arch, when you end up bending forward a lot more, you're going to see that changes. And as you move around, if you keep your back straight, the distance doesn't change that much. But most people hunch a lot more like this, and as that person moves around, that fabric is going to start coming out real quickly. Oh, it's already popping out. There it goes. See, that's all you have to do. And that's just distance and friction. It's just a matter of how much friction is holding that thing in there and how far you're pulling it and how strong the tensile and tear strength of the material is. And as you'll see in the later videos when I'm done prototyping this stuff, you can put some seriously powerful materials in there and utilize the strength of your legs and your hip all the way kind of to your fingertips and certainly throughout your torso and your arms. But so with this system, I mean, we're coming out real quickly. I didn't do anything there. Model didn't do anything there. Kind of just popped out. So let's put on a belt. So what a belt does, it's not even the greatest tuck. We hopefully fix that a little bit, but we try to get it tucked in there. And so now when we're wiggling around, the belt not only keeps the pants up, but it also adds more friction. It just squeezes that shirt in a little bit more. But this is a dress shirt. It's not Under Armour. I'm waving around a whole lot, and even with this belt, it comes out pretty quickly just because of the material in the shirt. It's not Under Armour. It's not stretchy. So here's the first ever tuck buddy. This is the worst tuck buddy that will ever be made. I made it from Amazon with some glue and 2 pairs of underwear. So this is zero pants, nothing, and this ends up being quite a lot better than anything else. But I give it a genuine, stretch around quite a bit. We'll move around, we'll shake around, and this was like me in my living room with some glue, and it doesn't, it lets you move around, but it's not really coming out, and like I'm trying to get it out there, and it's still coming out a little bit, but this is the worst one that I'll ever make, and I'm going to give it an honest, like I'm trying to get it out here. I'm going to try to get it out real hard, and it's just going to be a lot more difficult than even the pants. So it comes out there a little bit, still in there. Can't quite get it out. Still not quite out. There it is. There it is. But it's still, you can see it's just a little bit, oh, and here it is with the tuck buddy and pants. This is way harder, but I end up getting it out. But you'll see, like, this is in the living room, and you can see the tension is really tough in there. It's tough to move around. It's like springy. So it's really just stuck in there, and this is the worst version that will ever be made, the first one, the prototype ever done. And it really, like at that point, it just starts tugging, and it's kind of hard to...
Excuse me, please.
It ends up being hard to even really move forward, so you can do it, but it's really tugging. At that point, it's kind of comfortable to just kind of hang there. And you'll see in the shoulder and the armpits, it's just kind of stuck there. Because I'm really testing the strength of the materials in the back, and this is an Under Armour, so that material is really strong, and it's really just kind of holding me up there. And the fibers are just really being tested, and if I flex, I could have ripped my shirt right there, I'm pretty sure. And I can't really lift my arms up. And so as the distance shortens again, and I'm leaning back forward, you can see it's really tense, but it's still stuck in there, and it's really being pulled on. It's just stuck. So Under Armour, it wouldn't be doing any of this stuff because it's stretchy, but this shirt is not stretchy, and it's just making it kind of harder to move around. And it's still, like, after all that, it's not a bad tuck at all, really. And this isn't even the best fitting shirt, so no matter what I do with the worst tuck buddy ever, like, this shirt really isn't coming untucked until I start, like, here's what it's a little bit untucked there. Watch this. So this is me trying as hard as I can, and it's clearly just way better than it was before. Coming out just a little bit, and then I'll get it out, but I got to work real hard to get it out. There we go. See, it's not going to hold everybody's shirt in forever perfectly, but it's just going to do better than anything that's out there right now.